when somebody from your school, your college, or your neighborhood gets like a really good job or has some amazing piece of luck or gets a very good career break, sometimes when we hear of that, our mind goes, why did this happen to him? What's wrong with me? I'm also as good. I should have gotten that job. Now, comparing ourselves with others, this is something which we all do, or at the very minimum, we have all done at some point of time. And what happens? So we look at this person, that person, and then we feel like, my job is not good, my life is terrible, this is not great. And we just make ourselves miserable. Now, when this happens, we look around, okay, I need to stop feeling miserable and look for some help or advice. And people tell you, comparison does not help. And we tell ourselves, our brain says, yeah, I know it doesn't help, but how did that guy get the job? I should have gotten it. It doesn't help. Knowing does not change our thinking patterns. So what do we do? Now, today, I'm not going to give you a great piece of wisdom or tell you some algorithm. I'm just going to share with you 3 stories. And hopefully, those stories might leave some imprint in your memory, in your mind, and maybe at the right moment, they might remind you to step back. So here are 3 stories from my own life experiences. First story, number 1. This was early 2004. At that point, I was serving in the police service in Trivandrum in Kerala. I was the commissioner of police here, and one day I got a call from a friend of mine. His name is Sunil Asnani. Right now he lives in the US. And Sunil called me. He was a very good friend of mine. We used to live in the same apartment complex as well. And Sunil called and said, sir, I got admission into Wharton's MBA program. Amazing. And I was really thrilled. I was very happy for him. And then after a few moments, my mind went to what I was doing. So when I got this call, I still remember in Trivandrum, there's a colony. It's almost like a slum, not exactly a slum, but sort of very, very low income, not a very good place. And we were conducting raids to catch some criminals early in the morning. And when this call came, I remember I was standing near a garbage dump, and my cops were just going to different houses and trying to round up people, etc. And I was thinking, look at Sunil. He is going to soon be in one of the world's best business schools in the US. And here I am doing this stupid job of I'm standing near a garbage heap and trying to catch some petty criminals. You could argue that the job was meaningful. Yes, I know it was meaningful, but to me at that point, the contrast felt so extreme. And I was I'll be honest, feeling a little bit of pity for myself, like, what am I doing? Now, it so happened that next year, inspired by my friend Sunil, I also applied for MBA program at Wharton. I also got admitted. And very soon, I was a student. What he was doing, I was doing 1 year later. Now, when I was a student, the learning part and the experiences, those were amazing. But being a student is never easy, especially in a new country. I didn't have much money. And now, day-to-day survival was a big problem. So if you needed to buy something, you have to go to Walmart, buy those groceries, and you don't have money to even take a cab back. So you have to carry all those bags on both shoulders. You're carrying so much stuff and get in the bus. Compared to my life of so much more comfort 1 year back when I was the commissioner of police here, everything was so much smoother. I never had to do any of these things. And then when I look back, I felt that, yes, student, whatever I had thought of as being a student at Wharton, what it would be like, part of it was, I would say, pretty much what I thought, but there were so many other aspects which I hadn't thought about. And now when I look back at my own life 1 year ago, when I was near that garbage heap and conducting a morning raid in a slum to catch hold of criminals, that also, it did not sound as stupid as it did 1 year back. Perspective changes, and when you are in any situation, you get to see everything, not just one aspect of it. This was story 1. Story number 2. When I was serving the police service just before I became the commissioner of police in Trivandrum, for 1 year I was working in the police headquarters. I was doing a desk job. I will be very candid, it was very, very boring. I did not find it meaningful. It was actually not enjoyable at all. But nevertheless, you get posted in these jobs, and wherever you're sent, you do that job. So I was trying to do the best I could. But at that point, if somebody had said, hey, what if you could be posted as commissioner of police in the state capital? I would have thought, oh my God, like that would be such an incredible experience. That would have been so amazing. And 1 year later, I was in that position, and I'll be candid, it was amazing. But once again, there was a part of it which was incredibly exciting. But I had one boss. One of my bosses was terrible. He was a big pain, and every day evening, especially in the early few months of my taking charge as commissioner, every day he made it a nightmare. Whatever problem I was facing, I would ask him for help. Instead of that, he would try to put me in a spot, blame me for this, blame me for that. And every evening, I was scared of having to call him. It was misery every single evening. Now, yes, there were the good aspects of the job, but this was something which I had not anticipated. Once again, I was looking at this job as looking only at certain aspects of it. But when you go there, you see so many other things. This was story number 2. Story number 3. Before I became an entrepreneur, for last, I would say about 5 odd years, before that, I was working in different companies. I worked for a while in McKinsey, then I was working with a private equity fund. And in all those jobs, when I was working, I had this huge fascination for entrepreneurs. I used to feel like, man, being an entrepreneur, how amazing it would be. You have full freedom. You can choose whatever you want to do. You have full scope for creative work. You can decide what you want to work on. Nobody's going to assign you things. Nobody's going to tell you, do this, do that. You want to go to office, work from home. You can work whenever you want. You can take a break whenever you want. What more could somebody ask for? This was becoming an entrepreneur was my fantasy. It was something I just wanted. And then it happened. I became an entrepreneur. And then I had all that freedom, all that flexibility, all the opportunity for creative expression, everything was there. But now I had to worry about where will the money come from? No more salary checks. If I had to travel somewhere earlier, my office would make the arrangement. I could travel business class. I had no worries about where I will stay, which hotel, whatever. Everything was taken care of. Now every single thing I had to figure out myself. And when you're doing a startup, money starts going out, and after some time, the financial stress starts increasing. You're trying to create a new company, build a product, and most things don't work. And then the stress of all of that, it hits you like a truck. Again, you had not thought about those things. You just thought about certain aspects of it. So like I said, I'm not going to give any wisdom, but I'm going to leave you with these 3 stories. And if you see there's a pattern, the pattern is that when we think of something, whether it's a job, whether it is becoming an entrepreneur, or whatever, any situation in our life, when we have this image in our head, when we have a fantasy, we only think about some aspect of it. But we are thinking of life in one color, but life is like a rainbow. When we are in the situation that we want it to be, it turns out there are many, many other things. So all these people who got lucky, who we think we got lucky, they did not just get lucky. There are many, many things in their life. To get there, they would have had to struggle so much. And even the jobs or the opportunities that look great, they will have many aspects which we cannot see. Next time you feel like comparing, go ahead, indulge yourself, but remember these 3 stories. And maybe they'll remind you that, you know what, I am probably missing out on the rainbow. I'm just looking at one single color. And that might help you step back and let go and just be happy.